And nights you were sleepless, I know it wasn't easy, and you are the reason I'm here. And no other feeling can top what you mean to me. I owe you all of my years. I love you the most. I just want you to know you gave me the love I always need. My heart will always be your home. I'll be there forever and ever, wrapped up in endless love. X marks the spot, you're my treasure. Can't thank the Lord enough. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful, always a part of me. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. You'll always be my queen. No one can take your place. You told me love took away pain. You are the sun behind the rain. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. 9 months you carried me through the pain. I'll never let you down, I swear. You made the man that I am today. I'll always keep you in my prayers. Heaven lies under you. I'll lower the wings you gave to me. You'll never be number two. God hears your call, so pray for me. There with you on your golden days. There with you right to your oldest age. You are my map, you show me the way. Right up to heaven's gates. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful, always a part of me. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. You'll always be my queen. No one can take your place. You told me love took away pain. You are the sun behind the rain. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. Every day. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. And nights you were sleepless, I know it wasn't easy, and you are the reason I'm here. And no other feeling can top what you mean to me. I owe you all of my years. I love you the most. I just want you to know you gave me the love I always need. My heart will always be your home. I'll be there forever and ever, wrapped up in endless love. X marks the spot, you're my treasure. Can't thank the Lord enough. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful, always a part of me.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome brothers, sisters and listeners from afar. This is Yusuf Osama back again on the Ramadan Radio London with my beloved brother Maj.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing, bro?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good, bro. How are you doing?
I am doing very, very good, alhamdulillah. And crikey. We started this a couple of weeks ago, Maj. Feels like only a few days ago, and our first show was at the beginning of Ramadan, and here we are, just literally probably maybe 2 to 3 days before the end of Ramadan. How you feeling about that?
You know what? Quite sad to be honest. Obviously, come to an end. But, Alhamdulillah, it is what it is. And inshallah, we've taken as much as we can during this month. We've learned, we've increased. We have increased and we have tried our very best, I guess.
Inshallah. Well, today, with it being the end of Ramadan, and sadly, today is going to be a recap of Ramadan, looking at what has happened during Ramadan, looking behind us and moving forward, inshallah. So, if you would like to join us today in our show by giving your kind of opinion on the topics and the points that we're going to be talking about, what do they need to do, Brother Maj?
Everyone can call in, text or WhatsApp on 077 614 60614.
And we are live on Ramadan Radio London, 87.9 FM. So, like I said, this is going to be a Ramadan recap for everyone listening. And let's start off with, like we mentioned, with the fact that it's gone so quickly. But alhamdulillah, for many of us, it's been a very beneficial Ramadan. So, Maj, I want to start with you. Could you just, in 30 seconds, quickly sum up how your Ramadan has been? And then I'm going to kind of break it down with some questions for you. Overall, how have you found Ramadan? Overall, in a snapshot.
Alhamdulillah, I find it very good this year. Fundraising, meeting new people, making sure I'm using my time wisely. I think this year I was able to use my time a lot more wise and a lot more better. I was
so you were able to utilize your time in
utilize
more
my time really
efficient way.
a lot. Yeah, definitely. I'll say that.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, like yourself, I think me personally, if I was to give a snapshot of my Ramadan, it was, I'd say, it felt a lot more relaxed compared to other Ramadans. I mean, you and me, we work in the charity sector, so it's a very hectic and busy time, but it didn't really feel like that for me, for most parts. It felt very, I want to use the right word here, I want to say serene, shall I say that? Yeah, it felt like that. So, Maj, I want to ask you, and for everyone at home, please feel free to give us a snapshot of how your Ramadan went, and even these questions which I'm going to pose to Maj and myself, please give us your kind of take on these points. So Maj, I have 5 kind of questions so that I can kind of figure out how your Ramadan was, what has been for you overall, and maybe some of these points we can look at for the future, inshallah. So what would you say, Maj, was what was the thing that you gained the most, or what did you learn this Ramadan? If you had to narrow it down to one thing, what was the most important thing that you have learnt this Ramadan?
One thing I've learned is how to better myself as a person and how to be able to be a better person towards my parents and towards how important family time was. When we were breaking iftar, there were times where, like, as I'm walking home, you see people breaking it by themselves. They walk into a shop or they're just popping into them. And you think, how blessed are we that we are going home to our families? And there will come a day when we may not have our families around us. And just that feeling, that feeling when you're all around the table, everyone's around the table, everyone's eating together, you're sharing that moment together. And it's completely different to any other time. And it just felt, for me, that was it, man.
So utilizing your time with the family.
Definitely. And I'll say, look, family is very important for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Very important. And to be able to spend time with our families and be able to do things with our families, I think it's very important as well.
I think maybe some people listening in will probably, have this kind of idea that during Ramadan where you're working and at the same time you're trying to do as much ibadah as possible, whether it's going to the mosque and praying or taking time out to read Quran, doing your adhkar, maybe we kind of neglect our family time. Maybe we only sit down for iftar and that's it, and then we run off to the mosque. But being able to prioritize, like have you have done, Maj, learning how important that particular time is as a family. And yeah, I think that's something that I think we should all take on board.
No, definitely. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, so the second thing I would like to know about your Ramadan, in which everyone else can take part in as well. What did you enjoy most about this Ramadan? What was your highlight of this Ramadan?
You know what? This year again, I think for me, as we work in the charity sector, the events that we were doing. I mean, there was a time. I mean, last Sunday there was 9 car washes taking place at the same time in Tower Hamlets, and that's the thing: the unity, the support, the just these events happening. That it's the Ramadan vibe that you don't get out of Ramadan. And seeing everyone working together, everyone helping each other, you see familiar faces, you see new faces, you see old faces come in, and they tell you, brother, you know what, alhamdulillah, it's nice to share this reward with you. Like right now, we've got the PYO brothers outside selling their amazing cakes and their tarts. I mean, it's like, look, you won't get that during normal days.
Yep, it's that kind of
It's that
extra.
yeah.
It's that extra sense of community.
So big shout out to my brothers from PYO, by the way.
If you brothers are listening in, we love everything that you guys are doing. You guys have actually absolutely smashed it. PYO is actually a local football club,
Yeah.
and mashallah, they go above and beyond the football scene, especially for charity as well. Myself, Brother Maj, for quite a long time has been working with the brothers at PYO, and alhamdulillah, the work they've been doing is, I think, nothing short of amazing, bro.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, guys, if you're listening in, please, if you want to message us on Instagram, please feel free. Or drop a WhatsApp text, inshallah. What's the number they can call, Maj, or text?
So you can call, text, or WhatsApp in at 077
So let us know what your highlight of Ramadan was, what you have learnt from Ramadan, and also the next 3 questions, which I will post to Maj as well. Give us your answers to these. Maj, what challenges did you face this Ramadan? Because these 5 questions that I'm asking you, I want to get a snapshot of what your Ramadan was like. Does anyone listening or everyone else out there kind of resonate with your Ramadan? So we know that the lesson that you gained the most was spending your time, utilizing your time, especially with your family.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed working in the different events this Ramadan. So what did you find? So kind of the opposite of what you enjoyed the most. What did you find most challenging about this Ramadan?
You know what? Controlling myself, as in my emotions, my nafs, for example. Like you could almost say, controlling myself in certain areas, but trying to encourage myself to go that extra mile a bit more. I personally think I could have done it a lot more. Example, praying the full Taraweeh. I'll be honest, bro. I'm on radio, bro. I'll say it. I didn't pray it every day. I didn't pray the full 20. But personally, I want to be able to do that. And it's something I should be able to do now. But, we're young. Like, sometimes we let the desires get the best of us. So, inshallah, next time, that's what I want to be able to push towards.
So, it's being able to go like that
extra mile.
Extra mile. Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. 20. Like, we've been given Taraweeh in 1 month out of the whole year. I won't get that opportunity again.
Exactly.
And I'm not guaranteed that opportunity again. So
going the extra mile, especially when it came to
Taraweeh. Pushing myself to do just a little bit more. Like, it's a beautiful thing, Taraweeh.
It is.
But you know it is, especially those of us who are working, or after we have a big iftar power, we get slumped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm getting onto that iftar bit later on, actually. But so we know what your challenge was.
Yeah.
We know what you've enjoyed, what you've learned. What would you do differently in preparation for next Ramadan? Now, next Ramadan, what would you what in your mindset? What would you do differently for next Ramadan, so that the next Ramadan is more fruitful, it's more beneficial for you? Is there one thing?
I think planning ahead of Ramadan is. I think for us. Especially those of us who find Ramadan difficult. Let me tell you now, a lot of people will tell you they have their own struggles during Ramadan. And as much as we can say, yeah, Ramadan, like, it's there to make it easier for us. For a lot of us, a lot of people will be struggling through Ramadan. Now, if we plan ahead, how we plan our jobs, how we plan our day-to-day life, take the kids at 9 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. You know, that planning ahead, if you do that for Ramadan will become easier for us.
Yeah, 100%.
We make it difficult for ourselves. But we have also have the option to make it easier for us.
It's
Right,
like
exactly.
it's like with work, isn't it? It's like if you don't plan for something, if you're doing an event or you're doing a I don't know.
Like a teacher, example, if the teacher don't plan her
If you
lesson,
don't plan
and
your
she,
lesson, you can't
she
you
ain't gonna
can't
know
deliver an
what's
effective
happening.
lesson. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So preparing for Ramadan, that's another good thing for everyone to take in mind is having a plan. Planning it doesn't just relate to work or your studying. It's
And
every
make
part
it
of your life.
fun. You can make it as fun as you want. If you have children, if you have nephews, make it fun for yourself. Enjoy it. No one's telling you have to be strict, serious. Like, told you, bro, enjoy it. Make the most of it. Enjoy it. Smile. Make it a way where it's easier for you as well.
Yeah. So that pulls up to my final question about your Ramadan, and this is a positive note. What was your favorite meal this Ramadan, Maj? Is there any meal that stuck out and you said your lips were you were salivating, you were licking your lips, you were like, "Ah, oh yes, 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 this was the one."
You know what? You just asked me a hard question because I'm thinking about food right now, bro. I'm thinking about food right now. But there's something that
You're
we
hungry,
eat,
ain't you, bro?
bro. I could hear my stomach just giving me missed calls, man. Trying to avoid it. But there's one thing we eat in the Bangladeshi household, bro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I
So
know
we
this
call
is.
it kisuri.
Uh-huh.
Some people call it khichdi. Some people call it khichdi. There's different ways of saying it. It depends on where you're from. We have that. We have chickpeas. So we have sana. We have these lentil pakoras. We call it dalibora. And the ultimate salad. Once you have them four items on your plate, you know your iftar is going to be that's the elite combo for iftar, bro.
I think for many people from like the Bengali house, that's like a staple item. That's
Yeah,
staple. That's
yeah.
a staple iftari meal.
That's basically like a must. And then
It's yeah.
anything else is
Anything
just,
else is a bonus. But I'm gonna be a bit different. So my favorite meal, and I might take some people by surprise. I went out for an iftar with my friends during Ramadan, and there's this Somali restaurant in my lane. It's called Damal. I promise you, bro. I promise you, bro. The food there. We got this massive jumbo platter. There was like 5 lamb shanks. There was 2 whole chickens. The rice, the Somalis call it beris. The rice, the chili sauce.
the food giving me
Oh,
you know, I'm shivering, bro. I got the light shiver you get.
but mate,
Feeling hungry, mate.
anyone who knows me knows I love my Somali food, and this was no different. I think the brother behind there, I think he's in the studio. He likes the fact that I'm loving my Somali food. MashaAllah. The lahm and beris, bro.
You know what? I haven't really tried it. I've tried it in Kenya from Somalian communities, like that live in Kenya or Uganda, wherever it is. But I haven't tried it like in an actual restaurant here.
Look, I don't want to make everyone so hungry at home, but it's just the way the meat falls off the bone in this.
You know
in
what,
this
my
cooked
brother,
Somali food.
you know what? You're look.
I'm
I
gonna
can hear my
stop
belly
that.
calling me.
So we've covered your kind of Ramadan, Alhamdulillah, Maj. And I'd like to just cover maybe give my kind of 5 pence on what Ramadan looked like for me and see if anyone else could resonate with it. So what did I gain? What did I learn from this Ramadan? I think the biggest thing I learned this Ramadan was that if I make my ibadah a proper priority, then I can give it the right time. And what I mean by that is every Ramadan, we try. Well, some of us try to recite the whole Quran, like do one para, one juz a day, and I usually struggle with this. I usually struggle with actually being able to do that. But this Ramadan was quite different for me, and I think I made a plan. I planned my Ramadan Quran properly. So I said, you know what? After Fajr namaz, 5 pages. The Dhuhr namaz. I gave it its due time, if you know what I mean. So knowing that and it relates to what you mentioned about planning, I planned it in a way. I made it a priority in my plan.
And I guarantee it was a lot more easier than previous times where you haven't planned it and you went for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what I enjoyed most is like you said, it's the work that we are doing. I think, like you said, that day when we had the 9 car washes in Tower Hamlets, I had my one in Stratford. Best day of the year for me so far. I mean, I had all these young brothers around me. You came as well, bro, and you saw how they were working like a unit. It's just, everyone's out there doing it. The weather was good as well, so I
You know,
absolutely
a big shout out to the new young brothers, man. The young
yeah.
brothers did it very well.
Yeah, our brothers there, brother Yasin and the others.
Ishti, Yasin, the chauffeur guy, all the brothers.
Yeah, those guys absolutely smashed it. What I'll do differently next Ramadan is how do I say it? For next Ramadan, I think I will, like you said, plan. I was planning for work. I feel like being in the charity sector, you plan so much for work, but I didn't really plan it properly. Um, but my personal ibadah, I didn't really give it much of a plan apart from the Quran, like making a little schedule. But other than that, I didn't really plan my like set some time for adhkar, set some time for extra salah and learning, reading a book also. So I didn't really give
You know,
myself.
there's always that one bit extra we could do every Ramadan, but it's just adding that one bit extra. Knowing the benefits of it and how much it will help us will make a massive difference. And we're not telling you, okay, you might be able to add 3 things, add all 3 things at once. Try your best to add the 3 things at once, the positive things, but take your time and do it.
100%. So on that, Maj, we've covered what you've covered your Ramadan, I've covered my Ramadan, and guys who are listening in, whether it's on YouTube, it's Instagram or on the website, please give us some idea of what your Ramadan was like. You can give us a call on 077 614 60614, or you can drop a message on the Instagram page, which I believe is at Ramadan Radio London. Drop us a DM, inshallah, and we can read out your messages. And we'd really genuinely like to know what other people's Ramadan is like, inshallah. So with all that we have covered so far, Maj, I would like to ask you, this is like an open discussion for both you and me and those listening in. For next Ramadan, so this Ramadan's coming to an end, and given all the points that we have covered, how can we prepare for next Ramadan? Like, I'm gonna ask you for like you as an individual. I know we haven't even finished this Ramadan, but based on what you've just said, how would you approach Ramadan 2024?
So the way I'll do it is I'll create a list of what the things I'm trying to increase in. You know, some people, they might pray. Some people might pray 5 times a day, but they only pray the fard 5 times a day. You might aim to try and pray the sunnah. Add the sunnahs on. You might be praying 5 times a day. You pray at home 5 times a day. Now you want to add going to the masjid 5 times a day. You want to pray in Jamaat 5 times a day. So set yourself little targets like that. Little targets, little goals, and make it happen. And every time you do it, tick it off. You write it down, make it, every time it happens, tick it off, tick it off, tick it
So
off.
like
tick
a
it off.
daily checklist for the whole
Like
month.
a daily checklist until it becomes normal within your routine. Until you make it normal within your day-to-day routine. And then next thing you know, it's just there. It's been added on. It's something that's beneficial. It's something that's helping you. But you realize, okay, I still can do everything that I was meant to do. And I'm still be able to add in these extra rewardable things.
So kind of create yourself a proper plan for Ramadan and try and do a bit more than what we normally used to do.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a very good piece of advice for
Thank
everyone. You have an end goal. So if it's university, you have a goal where I want to attain my bachelor's. I want this particular grade. I want this amount of knowledge. I want to get a job afterwards. There's goals to get out of doing something. And for me, I think next Ramadan, I would want to set myself a proper, clear goal, maybe more than one. And it could be related to different things, i.e. it could be I'm going to, like you said, maybe increase in my sunnah, my nawafil salah, increase how much I read every single day of the Quran, maybe not just the 1 or 2 pages, but maybe increase it to 4 or 5. Whatever it is, I want to set myself a goal, and then I can create a plan that works towards achieving that goal of mine. So I think, for next Ramadan, to prepare, plan ahead properly, make a to help you with your plan, have a goal or goals set in mind. I think that's what me and you could give to everyone here listening in. And Now, on that, what you have gained from this Ramadan, Maj, how, give me an example of what you have learned, gained from this Ramadan, and how you are going to try and maintain it. So, what have you gained from this Ramadan? One thing you have gained, and how you look to maintain it and keep it going forward, so that it doesn't just stay in Ramadan. You know, Ramadan, the month itself is leaving, but this particular thing that you have gained doesn't leave with it.
Um, for me, I think is spending more time, um, spending more time, uh, connected with Allah. I think spending more time reciting, spending more time making dua, spending more time trying to about, learning about different things in Islam. There's so much to Islam that we still don't know, and sometimes we get asked questions, and then we don't know the answer to it. And we're put in a difficult position because we think, okay, if I do this, is it right or wrong? Do you get it? So for me, it's more about connecting with Allah, finding more out about Islam, learning about Islam, learning why, who the prophets were, what are their stories, why are we different to other religions? How are we different to other religions? How did we come to this earth? What happens to us after we leave this earth? Things like small things like that. The answers to the graves. What happens in the grave? What happens to people's soul that have passed away before they go to before the day of judgment? So small things like that. Just learning about it, understanding it. Even like when we make dua, let's learn what other duas we can do. The duas that can help us. What duas there are out there. Because I guarantee you, not all of us know all the duas. We know the simple, basic ones.
And if those who are listening don't know all the duas, then I want to just add that there's a little book that I highly recommend everyone buy. I think everyone does have this book, but it's only like £1 or £2 from any Islamic bookshop. It's called Fortress of the Muslim. This is a beautifully compiled book, and all the duas you need from waking up in the morning to when you go to bed, for every situation, whether it's how you pray, the duas you recite when leaving your house, the janazah, traveling, everything you need, every aspect of life, there's a dua for it, and it's in this book. So Fortress of the Muslim. If you do not have it, get it. Treat yourself for Eid with this book. Treat your family with it. Honestly, it's better than any toy you can buy your kid, or it's any toy, any kind of gift you can give anyone, because they recite this every single day. They get the rewards for it as well.
You know what, saying, you know how you just said treat yourself, gift it to yourself. I think one important thing that I've learned as well is self-love.
100%.
Self-love. There's no one here more important to me than me.
Yep.
And there's no one here that whoever's actions will affect my afterlife as much as it will than mine.
It's like you said.
No one else's action will affect me more than my own actions.
It's at the end of the day, it's our life and ours to live and lead. It's not someone else's, and we are responsible for it.
And we make the decisions. You make. You know, some people say, "Nah, bro, you get influenced into doing other things and that." My brother, we still have the decision in our hand.
Yep.
Whether we want to choose a certain path, whether we
were pressured, you were the one who made the decision to give into that pressure.
Give into that pressure, and you know what? A lot of people I see, they don't understand their value. They don't understand the value. They don't love themselves enough, and a lot of people, they seek validation from second party, like other people. And I just think to myself, you know what? If you learn to love yourself, you will realize the value of yourself, and you will realize that there ain't nobody on this earth that can say or do anything to put you down or make you feel in a certain way, because you know what's right and what's wrong for yourself.
True.
And that's where it comes to. Like, for me, I think self-love, bro. This Ramadan, when I was making them duas, bro, I just thought, if anyone's going to heaven, it's me, bro.
Yeah.
Anyone's going to heaven, it's me, my bro. Straight duas for myself. Obviously, I did pray for them.
We're going to cover self-love and, a little later on, inshallah. Something that I have gained, I like to think that and I know this is going to sound very generic, but I think my connection with the Quran has improved quite a lot. And I know it might sound quite generic, but it's like this Ramadan, I've taken more time and I put in a bit more effort to make sure I've completed my daily juz and that.
But
even if it's at work, I don't know if even at work, I've made sure that, you know what, I'm going to take a few minutes out into a different room.
You're saying it's generic, but if you think about it, it's probably one of the biggest things for many of us out there. We don't have that connection.
True.
As generic as it sounds, there's so many of us that can relate. Bro, so many of us that can say, yo, bro, I put my hands up, I only bring my Quran out in Ramadan, bro, once or twice during Ramadan. Do you get it? So even though it might sound generic, it's actually a big, big thing.
Yeah. So guys, if you're still listening in, inshallah, please, we'd like to hear what your Ramadan has been like. If you want to give us a message on Instagram, drop us a message on Instagram, a DM, and we'd be happy to read it out, inshallah.
DM, text, call on 077 614 60614. Let us know. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear how your Ramadan has been. Let's share it with everyone that's listening as well. So maybe some people can relate. Maybe some people think, oh, I didn't think of that. Let me add this on. This could be something. It could be things that people can add on to their list.
Anyway, once me and Maj are going for a little break now, inshallah. And when we come back, we will have some really important tips for how to move forward from Ramadan, inshallah. So we'll see you straight after the break.
At night you were sleepless, I know it wasn't easy, and you are the reason I'm here. And no other feeling can top what you mean to me. I owe you all of my years. I love you most. I just want you to know you gave me the love I always need. My heart will always be your home. I'll be there forever and ever, wrapped up in endless love. X marks the spot, you're my treasure. Can't thank the Lord enough. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful, always a part of me. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. You always be my queen. No one can take your place. You took me love, took away pain. You are the sun behind the rain. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. Now once you carry me through the pain, I'll never let you down, I swear. You make a man that I am today. I'll always keep you in my prayers. Heaven lies under you. I know the winds you gave to me, you'll never be number two. God is your call, so pray for me. There with you on your golden days, there with you right to your oldest age. You are my map, you show me the way, right up to heaven's gates. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful, always a part of me. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. You always be my queen. No one can take your place. You told me love,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Ramadan Recap with myself, Yusuf, and Brother Maj. For those of you who are just tuning in now, we have been talking about our Ramadans individually, how we have found Ramadan, what we have learnt from Ramadan, and we'd love to hear what everyone else is saying and how you found your own Ramadan. So please let me know. Send us a text on the number, inshallah.
So please call, text, WhatsApp on 077 614 60614.
Now, this final part of the show, myself and Brother Maj, we want to give some tips on kind of advices, I'd like to say, of how to keep the Ramadan, what you gained in Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, keep it going, basically, and narrow that down to 5 key areas, inshallah. So, the very first tip I would like to give to everyone here, this is for myself, first and foremost, and then for everyone else. Those good habits that we built up during Ramadan, let's try our best to keep them and maintain them. And what I mean by that, I'll give some examples. And Maj, you touched on this earlier. Praying on time. I know it's Ramadan, but a lot of us outside of Ramadan, we don't really pray when Salah kicks in, or sometimes we have to make it up. Praying on time and in Jamaat. Maj touched on it earlier that maybe you pray 5 times a day at home. When this Ramadan you've been praying every single Salah, mashallah, in Jamaat. Try and keep this going after Ramadan. Like, we know that after Ramadan we have our 6 days of fasting up in Shawwal. So we're still fasting for a little while. Keep the Salah, keep the good practices you kept for Salah. Those good habits, it doesn't have to be just Salah. It could be you reading small amounts of Quran every single day.
You know, we do dhikr.
Yeah, dhikr. It's Ramadan. We work in charity. We know there are people who, gave regular giving, £1 a day, £5 a day. If you can, keep that up. If you can financially do so, keep it up. Honestly, even if it's just £1 a day. And I know that if there are parents listening in, £1 a day is literally peanuts.
And the day keeps the shaitan away.
That's Maj's, one of Maj's own lines, which I quite like, alhamdulillah. But yeah, even so, the good ibadahs that you were doing, these count as your good habits. And not just that, but the things that you worked on not to do. So it's like our language. Like, it's Ramadan. Sometimes outside of Ramadan, we have 1 or 2 instances where we're not talking in a polite way, in a good way, and there's maybe some foul language that comes out.
Get rid of that habit. I think the foul language, the small words.
And that's the good thing about Ramadan, is that we're in that kind of mindset and that zone where
we can't say this, we
can't
can't
say
that.
Can't do this, can't do that.
And you know what? You'll see your speech automatically changes.
100%. And we've noticed that ourselves during Ramadan, but it's keeping that up. You know what I mean? It's like, do these bad ways only stay away during Ramadan? Or does the Quran stay on the top shelf, gathering dust for the rest of the year? Does my prayer...
Once we make it into a habit, once we make it into something, once we integrate it into our lives, it becomes so much more easier.
100%. So it's these good habits that we've maintained, keeping it going forward into the future. That's top tip number 1 that I think me and Maj can give. Keep the good habits going.
No, definitely, 100%.
And that leads on to number 2. Top tip number 2, the bad habits and our bad kind of regular deeds that we had going on outside of Ramadan and that we've been avoiding, keep them out as much as you can. And I'm not going to go into specific things as to what they can be, but there can be a variety of things.
It could be a lot of things because each of us
has a vice, and everyone has their own vice.
Yeah,
and
we sin different. We all sin different to each other.
Yeah, it can be things you watch. It can be things that you take or eat or drink. It can be the smallest thing. Is that outside of Ramadan, I used to eat too much chocolate, and you know what? That's probably me. Outside of Ramadan, bro, you've seen me in the office. I have a sweet tooth. After lunch, after dinner, I like to have something very sweet, and for me, that's a vice. For me, that's a bad habit because it's affecting my health in a negative way. And that's one side of side of looking at bad. There's other bad habits that affect you in a mental capacity, spiritual capacity.
Some people smoking is probably one big one.
Yeah, it's a big
Smoking,
one. And during Ramadan, we
lifestyle.
cut. Yep. And even it's other things as well, like spending money. spending money in a bad way and on things that you shouldn't. During Ramadan, we've all tried to, control that, spending good ways in our akhirah, whether it's to charity, whether it's to investing it into our savings or something like that. What I'm trying to get is this Ramadan, those bad habits that you've tried to put a lid on, keep that lid on. Don't open that lid if you can. Obviously, we are human beings. We are weak, but even if you minimalize it to such a small extent, that's still a good sign that your Ramadan may have been accepted.
No, 100%.
So
100%.
keeping your good habits and maintaining them that you did during Ramadan, and refraining from the bad habits that you tried to put a lid on during Ramadan. Now, number 3 is something that our brother Maj touched on a bit earlier. Increase in your search of knowledge and develop your connection with Allah to also, so that this Ramadan, many of us, we have, taken time out to study the Quran, read the Quran, other books as well. But going into next Ramadan, I think one thing we should take on board is the knowledge that we are gaining. Keep it going. Even if it is even if it's something as small as, I'm going to buy an Islamic book, I'm going to read a one page every 2-3 days. That knowledge that you gain from it.
Another thing people do, say for example, every Ramadan you're reading you're doing a khatam, yeah? You're finishing the whole Quran throughout the whole Ramadan, yeah? And you've been doing that for like a couple of years now. Switch it up. Buy one with the meaning to it.
Yep.
So as you're reading, you're understanding the Quran now. And you keep doing that. Imagine you keep doing that year after year after year after year after year. There'll be times when you're standing in Taraweeh, bro, or when you're standing in prayer, and when the Imam recites and he's crying because he knows what he's reading. He's crying. Bro, you feel that. You have a deeper connection.
Exactly what he's saying.
And your connection in your salah will be a lot more deeper. Do you understand? It will be that's the thing. The whole reason why we pray salah is to have a deeper connection with Allah. Take everything else around you out, and you're praying. Do you get it?
I think you've just touched on a really good thing there, bro.
Thank you.
It's the translation of the Quran, and I think I want to actually elaborate on that now because you just got my mind jogging there. It is the month of the Quran, and this is what makes this month so special, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran. And I think for me, this is a piece of advice for myself more than anything. Is that, yes, myself and a lot of others, many others, we'd like to recite the Quran, do the khatam as you said, in Ramadan, but we don't actually read the meaning with it. So, like you said, the Imams who lead Taraweeh, they cry many times. They cry because they know exactly what they read. They know the meaning, the powerful meaning behind it. And unfortunately, unless you're fluent in Arabic, you have studied the Quran, which not everyone here or listening or out there has done, you can't really resonate with when the Imam is doing that. When you're reading, it's not like you're understanding. It's like, you know that this is the word of Allah. A few words here and there.
And you know what it is? You'll be surprised. Sometimes your mind wanders.
100%.
And I think those whose mind wanders, that's why it wanders, because we don't have a clue not to be rude thing. We don't have a clue what the Imam say. All we know is that he's going to recite. Then we're just going to follow him in prayer. But imagine standing and understanding what he's saying. And that's you understanding the words of Allah.
And with the meaning of the Quran, reading the translation helps you build that, I think. Constantly reading that. So when your Imam's reciting, you know what he's saying. You know that, this is the story, this is the meaning behind what these verses, that, if the Imam's getting emotional, you might be able to resonate with that because you have studied it. And now moving on to the main point that I was making is being able to make the most out of Ramadan next year. If you just take the Quran, the translation of it, or even other things, but this hadith or something that you want to dive into and learning more about our deen will help us go into next Ramadan with much more of a understanding of how to take even more benefit out of it, I think, personally.
Yeah, definitely.
And it builds your connection. Building your connection with Allah builds your desire to get the most out of something good.
100%, bro. You know what it is? And that's what we aim for. When Ramadan comes, we aim to better ourselves as people. If you do that throughout the year and then we use it during Ramadan, that's 70 times more in reward as well, bro.
100%.
I'll
100%.
just say one thing. Look, we're slowly gonna come towards the end of our show. It will be the last one we do this Ramadan as well. So look, if you guys wanna leave us a message, if there's anyone that wants to leave a message that wants to tell us about how their Ramadan went, then please do call on 077 614 60614, and inshallah we'll get back to you.
We only got time for the last two tips for Ramadan. The next one, you and me don't need to spend too much time on it. Build up your ability to cook and enjoy healthier meals for next Ramadan.
Now, my brother, I need to definitely do that one, bro. I ain't seen a broccoli in a long time.
Yeah, I can definitely say that this Ramadan has not been the healthiest for me. I think
You know what? For me, it started off like I was eating Weetabix for suhoor, bro. If that, I tried to eat a fruit, and then I was like, nah, I can't do that no more, bro.
I think in my household, well, I'm a bit blessed where my mum and dad make it like iftar is we break our fast with dates and a bowl of fruit and yogurt. But other than that, I'll be real with you. The Bengali side of me will kick in, and it's like a full extra spicy curry. I want pakoras. I want the
That's when
samosas.
the gastric tablet comes out after it. After Tarawih, the burps.
Yeah, that
That was a
and
danger one.
I think, but yeah, honestly speaking, and that is for me. I feel guilty after because it's counterproductive. Like I've been fasting all day, mainly for my spiritual reasons, but also a side benefit is your health, and eating all of that food straight afterwards, I think is, well, I know it's counterproductive. So I think for next Ramadan, and we know social media, whether you're on social media or you can have YouTube as well, there are so many people out there who have got healthier halal options for us, for our iftar, for our suhoor. Like for suhoor, you can find recipes that are much more healthy, and give you the energy that you need for the day. Some people
Definitely.
think, oh, I need to eat a big, heavy meal to get me through the day.
And that's what makes us slump during Tarawih, bro. I'll be honest. You know, the 8 Rahat gang, we trying to get as quick as possible. Some of us
Guilty as charged.
we just trying to escape, man. But again, if we plan ahead, if we do well, if we eat the right things, we have more energy during Tarawih. Then we will stand for the whole 20.
And I think like the one before we get to the very last point, the one thing that we have been repeating all show today: planning. Plan, plan, plan.
100%.
It-
100%.
It genuinely. I think there's a saying where I think the saying goes is a group of idiots with a plan are better than a smart guy with no plan.
I feel something like that. I haven't heard
Something
it,
along
but
those lines, but
yeah.
planning is so key, because if you have a plan in place, you're more likely to commit to it rather than doing something on the spot.
No, definitely.
Like you said, planning for your spiritual side of Ramadan, making that checklist like you pointed out earlier, making a little checklist that have I done my 5 pages of Quran today? Have I prayed all 5 pages? And then if you haven't done that, okay, I'm gonna have tomorrow. I'm gonna have to do more. You know what I mean? That kind of plan for your spiritual part
You
of
know
Ramadan.
what? You know your plan. You can share it with others, friends, families, nephews, nieces, sister, brother, sibling, daughter, whoever it is. Share it with them, and then remind each other. Yo, did you manage to do your 5 today? Yeah, I did my 5, and how did yours go? Remind yourself. Nah, brother. You know what it is. I only did 4. Yeah, don't worry, man. Just add another one more. Like small things. Small things make the biggest difference.
Yep.
Changes, differences,
And
whatever
yeah,
it is.
the planning is key for your ibadah, your food, and everything to do with your month of Ramadan.
100%.
So I think this leads on to the final point. It's something you touched on earlier, my bro. And like you said, it's about the most important person in your life, and that is yourself.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Man.
Utilizing what more specifically I'm going to touch on utilizing your time so that you're constantly benefiting yourself on different levels of your life, and that can be focusing on your spiritual side, your spiritual life, focusing on your personal, your health, utilizing your time, and this is what you pointed out right at the beginning of the show. What kind of you gained the most, Maj, from this Ramadan, utilizing our time doesn't just mean, oh, I'm going to be sitting down every day reading 4 or 5 hours of Quran. It's utilizing your time to make you as a person in all aspects of your life go forward. Self-love, utilizing your time correctly is kind of part of self-love. And it's something we don't really take into much consideration around in this modern day and world, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%.
I think. And take this Ramadan, everyone utilize their time mainly around ibadah, mainly around their family. Ramadan is now coming to an end. Your time will be put into different parts of your life. But the key thing is putting your time into things that benefit you, you as a person. And when I say benefit, I'm not just referring to ibadah. I'm talking about your health. So utilizing time, putting some time out to exercise, putting some time out to run, giving yourself the right amount of time to sleep, bro. Now, you and me can vouch that this Ramadan, we have been sleep deprived.
100%.
Sleep deprived. But outside of Ramadan, give yourself a time, give yourself like, you know what, I'm going to go to bed by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, set my alarm for this so I get, set amount of sleep. Because we both know that when we don't have the right amount of sleep, the rest of the day is not great. Now, relaxing, giving you some me time. And what I mean by me time is, I'm not saying that you utilize your time when you're constantly learning, running, and everything like that. Give yourself time to relax, enjoy yourself, because that
There's
that's
so much
part of a
about
healthy
yourself.
lifestyle.
There's so much about yourself that you might not know, and you might discover it later on. Like, wow, I'm actually good at this. I'm actually good at that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I want to do this. I want to do that.
I mean, no one says don't watch football. Yeah, or don't watch the particular sport that you like.
Okay.
I'm like, if you watch too much of it, that's a problem. But if you support a team and you want to watch a bit of football and you like football, it can be part of your downtime. It's like you relaxing. It's you relaxing and, letting your grey cells and letting your mind and body relax and, finding something to enjoy in life besides your ibadah, besides your work, besides everything else like that. So I think those are our 5 kind of big tips for what you've taken. When we look back on Ramadan and try and walk forward, these are the 5 big tips that we have. And they were, 1, the good habits that we built up, keep them, maintain them. Number 2 was the bad habits that you refrain from during Ramadan or try to put a hold on. Try your best outside of Ramadan to keep your desires in check, and you don't foresee, you don't keep these bad habits going on and on and on, because then it's a sign that maybe our Ramadan was accepted, when the bad things don't keep happening and the more khair keeps coming out. So number 3 was increasing our search for knowledge to develop our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this will help us go into the next Ramadan with much more of an understanding of our deen and a connection with Allah. And the 4th one was to build up our ability to cook and eat in a much more healthier one. That is much more easier said than done. 100%.
I don't mind the eating part.
Yeah, now I'll be honest with you. For those of you listening in, we and Maj, we live, Maj doesn't live here in East London anymore, but we work in East London.
I live in East London, but not my usual spot, innit?
Yeah, not your usual spot, but East London is not the healthiest part of London, and it is the hardest place to be healthy. Fried chicken shop on every corner. Yeah.
I was saying that when I came out of my car today, when I got to office, I could smell chicken. I was like, oh, days, bro.
When you're fasting as well.
This stupid is a test.
And the final one was utilizing your time, so you're constantly benefiting yourself. And all of this comes to and leads up to the one big thing where we said plan. Plan your days, plan your Ramadan, plan your ibadah, plan your time, utilize your time. That is kind of the summary of our show today and what we want everyone to take from this Ramadan to the next Ramadan, inshallah. Now, brothers and sisters, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our show. This is the last time you'll be hearing me and Maj during the month of Ramadan, unfortunately.
It's going to be emotional, man.
Put those tears in. But brothers and sisters, it has been an absolute pleasure. And please keep us in your du'as. It is the 29th night, final odd night, 29th night, the final odd night. For me and Maj, please if we have benefited you in any way, if we have said something, then please make dua for us. And if we have offended you or said something maybe that's been out of line, forgive us and make dua that Allah guides us. So sincerely,
and if you want to
brothers,
help us on our fundraising, you can.
you could tag our socials and we'll give you more info on that. But brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Ramadan. And Eid Mubarak from me and from Maj. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Over and out.
And nights you were sleepless, I know it wasn't easy, and you are the reason I'm here. And no other feeling can top what you mean to me. I owe you all of my years. I love you, I love you the most. I just want you to know you gave me the love I always need. My heart will always be your home. I'll be there forever and ever, wrapped up in endless time. X marks the spot for my treasure. Can't thank the Lord enough. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful. Always a part of me. You are my heartbeat, beating your way every day. You always be my queen. No one can take your place. You told me love took away pain. You are the sun behind the rain. You are my heartbeat, beating away every day. Now you carry me through the pain. I'll never let you down, I swear. You ain't the man that I am today. I'll always keep you in my prayers. Heaven lies under you. Alone on the wings you gave to me. You'll never be number two. God is your call, so pray for me. There with you on your golden days. There with you right to your oldest stage. You are my path, you show me the way. Right up to heaven's gates. You are my angel, my superhero. Forever I'm grateful.